tried this a couple of times, but I'm trying to get this live thing down. It's new format for me. I'm not that comfortable with it. I'm trying to work it out. But um, I'm 51. I'm a dad. Been a father for the last 23 years. I have two children. My firstborn is with the Lord, and my secondborn is getting ready to graduate college in like a week. Um, Over the years, I've been blessed to have a lot of men in my life. My father in love, a lot of men I was raised up with, our neighbors, and a lot of interaction with men throughout my life. And over the last week or so, um, I interacted with two or three dads. And the last dad I interacted with when I was out for breakfast with our family on Saturday. Sorry, connection problems. And it's live too, so it's like I can't go back and edit. But I had a couple of conversations with a couple of dads, and the last conversation I had with a dad really pushed me to do this because he said, after our interaction, he felt better. He mentioned about iron sharpening iron, how one man can help out another man. And he also mentioned about when he talked with his daughter, he always told her the truth and always leveled with her. And one thing I did with my daughter when she was little, my wife used to get on me about it, is I should talk to her like she was adult. I wouldn't use adult language, but I would give the same concepts. And my wife would ask, "Why are you talking like that?" I said, "Because I don't want to give her a little baby talk, fairy tale answer." And when she's a teenager and becomes an adult, she finds out that dad never trusted her with the truth, but gave her some little nursery rhyme. I said, she can grow into the truth, but I don't want her to grow in, and as she grows, to know that her dad lied to her. So this dad told me the same thing. His daughter was like about 3 or 4 years old, real cute. We were out for breakfast. I stopped for a minute, asked her, we talked, we went back and forth. But at the end of the conversation, it spurred me on to do this because I do it in my everyday walk, everyday life, whether I'm at work, whether I'm doing my own business, whether no matter what aspect I am, I'm not a stranger to strangers. And I can strike up a conversation with anybody, but especially dads. And I try to always give a dad encouraging words. I try to speak life into people. That's a part of the essence of who I am. I'm an encourager. I like to tell people you can do it. I'm not a naysayer. If somebody says they think, is thinking about doing something, I'm the type of person that would say, okay, do you have a plan for it? Have you written out stuff? Have you did a little research? But at the end of the day, I'm your cheerleader. You can do it. You can do anything. You know what I mean? If you put your mind to it, put it down in writing, have a plan, you can do it. So that's my bent. That's how I am. But I just wanted to share, have a place online so the interactions I have daily with men and daily with people, but especially specifically for dads, for fathers. Um, Whether you're a dad that had the grace to be able to grow up in the same household as your children, or a dad who hasn't been able to do that. Some stuff I know personally, some stuff I know through my siblings, some stuff I know through my siblings in love, some stuff I know through my very close friends, just their walk as a dad. And it goes all the way from A to Z, from high to low. There's a lot of stuff that I've been presented with, and a lot of conversations, and a lot of situations that have been put out there for me to see. And I just want to make a place, um, using the internet, using YouTube, to encourage dads on a regular. So, my first couple of videos, it might be a little long because I'm trying to give you a background of who I am, what I'm about, and my bent. And then as we go on, I just want to make sure to at least every day give a little 5 minute quirk or something. Sometimes it might be something spiritual, sometimes it might be something funny, sometimes it might be something, it'll take the range of emotions just like life. Everything isn't serious, everything isn't a joke. And a lot of things, one of the encouragements, I try to just give the dads are that, no matter where you are on your walk, to try to have a community of like-minded men, like-minded dads, that you can encourage one another. Um, I'm a believer, disciple of Christ, and for a time I taught new members class. And I'll give you a good analogy about this. If you're older, I'm 51. If you're older, when you did a barbecue before, you would line up all the charcoals in a pyramid. You would put paper or you would put wood. And if you had lighter fluid, you would soak it with lighter fluid. If you didn't, you would put gasoline on it. And then you would toss a match in it. All of a sudden you see woof, fire, right? Then after that, what would happen is you the charcoals would start getting gray on the corners, right? And then once they started getting gray on the corners, the fire is starting to go. You take out the different meats you're going to put on, and all throughout the day, you cook. But invariably, at the end of the barbecue, when you get down to the last piece of meat, this is what always happens. Every charcoal that's still touching, they're all gray. They still have fire. Now, at the beginning of the barbecue, each charcoal had the corners were getting gray, and the fire was starting to go. It was catching on, right? But there's always a group of charcoal that are pushed out to the side of the pit, whether you have a rectangular one or a circular one. There's always a group that's pushed out that aren't touching the other charcoal. And all those charcoals, there's no more gray. It's put out. The grease from the meat, just the cooking of the day has put them out. But there's one reason why they were put out. They were put out because they weren't touching the other charcoals. Right here, my analogy for this page and my vision for this page is I just want dads to have a place where they can touch, and that they can stay inspired, and that they can find some hope, find some resources, find just a word for the day, or a laugh, or just a safe zone that it's okay to be a dad and it's okay not to be perfect, but somewhere where they can be encouraged. Because at the end of the day, I want each dad that comes through this page and looks, I want them to be like the charcoal. I want to make sure that you're touching another man, another dad, and that we keep each other burning. We keep each other in the game, because there's a lot of men in our society that have wandered off to the corners. And once a man runs off to the corner, once a dad gets pushed away from other people and other dads that are there to keep them warm, keep them sharp, to keep them in the game, to keep them, doing what they have to do, encouraged, a place where they can speak and not be judged, a place where they can ask for prayer or just ask for understanding or just bounce stuff off of. They're not isolated, but every dad that's in isolation is just like those charcoal, going through that barbecue, going through life, because life is going to happen to all of us. The same things I deal with, you might not deal with, but you're going to deal with something in this thing we call life. And as a dad, I want to make sure to build a community of fathers where we can touch and we can keep each other in the game, keep each other doing what we need to do for our children. And once we have our stuff right, to reach out to other men and help encourage them to do what they need to do for their children. And also, like the charcoal that are put out to the side, and it looks like their light's about to go out, and it looks like they're about to, you know, leave the game, that we reach out to them, that we try to bring them back in the fold, and that we try to encourage them, we try to speak life to them, that we try to just walk alongside of them, help them get back in the game, help them out, because I don't care how strong you are as a person, I don't care how good you are, you're going to come a time in your life where you're going to need somebody. You're going to need somebody to, build the song, lean on. It's true. It's real. This Lone Ranger dad stuff, that crap doesn't work. That's not real. There's stuff in this life where it will literally break you down. And if you don't have a community of like-minded people around you, and for this channel, the sake of like-minded dads that are trying to be positive, dads that are trying to encourage one another, dads that are trying to make sure that no dad is left behind. So therefore we can do it's an opportunity, it's a blessing to be a father, but to try to make sure we reach out to one another and build each other up. Like I said, I'm an encourager. Um, we all screw up. We all make mistakes. I'm not gonna, just because your mistake's different than my mistake doesn't make me any better, doesn't make you any worse. My thing is, it's easier, and my temperament is to lift you up, to find out how I can help you. And if I can't physically help you, to steer you in a direction, or steer you in a group of men, or steer you into resources that will build you up to help you to be a better dad and a better person. That's what this is really all about. So, like I said, some of these first videos is just explaining to you who I am, what I'm about, what the vision is here, and just this is just like an online version of what I do every day of my life. Every day of my life, when I see men, women, but especially dads, I try to engage them. And the ones who don't mind, we talk. And I'll give you one little quip that's really funny. It's funny, and it kind of got me a little bit. I think I talked about this in this is like my third video. So I think in one of the other videos I talked about my daughter when she was little. She used to ask me to pray the blessing over her, and I would just pray and speak how I want her life to come out, how I want the gifts that God gave her from birth to be used to help others, and also to bring glory to God throughout the world. Period, on a global basis. And I remember talking to one dad. I was on lunch break at work, and he had two younger children, like maybe about a 3 year old and maybe a 6 year old. And we got into this conversation going back and forth, back and forth. And this is the one that blew me away. I mean, afterwards, I didn't cry at the time, but afterwards, I really cried because I stepped back and looked at the dad was so vulnerable that I told him about the thing about the blessing. I told him about, just as a dad, your words cover your children, your words cover your household, and just when you speak, try to speak life, try to be positive, even in a negative situation. Deal with whatever needs to be dealt with, but make sure your words are always they have grace in them. Your words always have uplift in them, and your words always have hope, even when you have the discipline to do stuff like that. But I remember the dad said, it was time to get up and leave from lunch, and he said, "Man, can you pray for me, and can you pray for my girls?" He said, "The same prayer that you used to pray for your daughter as she was growing up, could you show me that? Could you like model that for me? Literally pray over my daughters and pray over me and pray for my wife too." He said that, man, I didn't boohoo then, but my tear, I mean, eyes getting all watery. And let me tell you this as a side note. If you were raised, I was raised by a dad that was raised by his granddad. So, my dad was born in 32. So his grandfather was like old school. Like, I don't tell you I love you. I didn't kill you. That means I love you. You've eaten, you got shelter, you got clothes on your back. That means I love you. If I ever change my mind, I'll let you know. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to be compassionate. I'm not going to be sensitive. Like I said, I ain't kill you. That means I love you. So a lot of parents who, were born in the 30s and were raised, skipped a generation and raised by their grandparents, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But my dad also taught me this, that crying doesn't mess with your manhood. He said, if you lose your manhood because you cried in public, you never had it. So let me give somebody a good word. You lose your manhood, you can't do it. If you could lose it over tears, you really don't have manhood in the first place. Not the real stuff. You got some fake manhood. So it's no shame on crying, because stuff moves you. It's okay to be a man and be compassionate. It's okay to be a man and show public emotions. My thing is, I tell people, don't be like Jeremiah the prophet. Every time I see you, you're weeping, you're snotty, you need a a Kleenex. Don't be that. Don't just be blubbering all the time. But it's okay to cry. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's a little side note. But I remember we went outside the restaurant, we went outside the little fast food place, and we went over close to his car because I didn't want to, bring embarrassment and nothing like that to him. Keep stuff on the low, low. I ain't like, look at me, look at me. No, no, no. I try to keep stuff on the low. I believe in I do stuff in secret, and God rewards me privately, openly. So I don't do stuff openly, because then God said, okay, you already got your reward, dog. Keep it moving. So we went over to the side, and I prayed for both his girls and prayed for him. And then after I left, I remember telling my wife what happened, and I was blown away. That's the kind of community I want us to be as dads, to be okay. When you know something, when you can help another dad, when you've been through something and you don't want another dad to go through that, you went left and you should have went right. So you tell the other dads, hey, when you're faced with this situation, you might want to go right, don't go left. I went there, and let me show the knots I got for going the wrong way, you know? So just wanna I just want to be an encouragement. And I think I said on one of my other two videos, you know, as a dad, I try to love my wife and love my daughter and my, you know, relatives, my nephews, my nieces, and my bloodline. But my dad always taught me if the only people I did good for are in my own blood, as a man, you're a failure because you have to have a vision bigger than just your household. Charity starts at home. In other words, you're supposed to be a good dad for your kids first. But then you have other spheres of influence where you can help encourage other dads, where you can help be there and make sure other dads are there for their kids. That's a part of how I was raised. So that's my bent. That's what I'm about. I'll try to, you know, mix up the content. You know, sometimes this ain't gonna be a Bible study group. Every time I'm coming with a word, hitting you over the head with the Bible. No, I'm not that way. But I do relate my everyday life with different scriptures. They come to mind, different principles, and just I want to be a good resource for dads. That's my whole heart. And like I said, within the last couple of days when I was out of town, um, that really the two dads blew me away, and that's why I'm here. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to. They said I was a help to them, so I'm trying to be a help on a bigger venue and have more chances to touch other dads. So that's what it's about. Like I said, I don't know everything. Um, Please comment, like, subscribe, share. I'm trying to get stuff built up so I can get an email to answer different questions. I just want to be a good resource. I want to be an encouragement to dads and let you know that no matter where you are in your walk as a father, whether you're just becoming a dad or you're a granddad, or even if you're a great granddad, that once you do right by your own, please reach out to other brothers. Like I said, like that analogy about the charcoal. When you see this charcoal look like they're about to go out, they're flickering a little bit, grab them up and bring them into the group. Bring them into your group. You have a group of men that you guys hang out together on a regular, encourage one another on a regular. Do that. But I'm just trying to do that virtually. But my encouragement for all men is, you know, get your house right first. Take care of your children first. And then after you get that going, then reach out to other dads and help them, encourage them, walk with them, mentor them, be mentored by them to how to be a better dad. Because what you do as a dad is going to outlive you. And what you do good as a dad is really going to outlive you down 3 and 4 generations. So that's where my heart is. That's what I'm about. And like I said, please subscribe to the channel, like it, put some comments in there. I'm trying to get it set up so I have the email right so we can communicate back and forth. This is going to be a monologue. I'm just trying to hear from other men, and just share my experiences on a regular. I just want this to be a place where everyone can be edified and lifted up. Okay? So you guys have a good day, and I'm trying to figure out how to shut this off. There we go.